السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Inshallah, today we are looking at lesson number 77. As you can see, and today's lesson is a continuation of the last two lessons, Min al-Nujum ila al-Ard, and part 3. We are looking at the part 3. So let's begin mubasharatan. The author, the Sheikh, says here that وَصَرَفْتُ نَظَرِي مِنَ الْغَرْقِ إِلَى الشَّرْقِ. He turned his vision from the Gharq. Al-Gharq is actually the west, in a shark, and a shark is the east. Okay, so he turned his attention from the west to the east, and then he says that fara'aytu dawlatan qawiyatan wasi'atan. Of course, this particular lesson is mainly centered on history, especially this last lesson that we are, this part 3, this lesson specifically. You see a lot of things that has to do with Islam, and all of that's just the nature of the book, as we said before, and as we have been seeing. The book, it has a lot of, as we are learning Arabic, we also learn history, Sira. That is clear a lot in this lesson. And so he says that Dawlatan Qawiyatan Wasi'atan, he saw a very big state. Which state is that? He will see it. He says that Qa'idatuha is Qa'ida. Qa'id, the center of something, where the central command is. Okay, is Qa'ida, is central command was Nisabur. It was Nisabur. Now he says that Tahkumu Khurasan wa Iraq wa Iran. It was ruling Khurasan and Iraq and Iran. So he saw a particular big state which was ruling all these places, the Khurasan, Iraq and Iran. And he says that وَيَتَحَكَّمُ مُلُوكُهَا فِي Baghdad. And its muluk, its rulers, its kings, they were ruling Baghdad. In Baghdad, they had what say in whatever transpired. They have the say in how these places are being governed. Okay, Baghdad, the Iraq, that's in Iraq. Then he says that yunasibuna wa ya'zilun, and they appoint and then they dismiss. Nasaba yunasibu, it means to appoint. So if I say nasabtuhu ra'is al-fasl, meaning I appointed him as the class rep. Okay, so Abdul Karim here, if I say Abdul Karim, and nasabtuhu ra'is al-fasl, I'm the one who appointed Abdul Karim as the head, the prefect of the class. So that is nasaba. So when yunasibuna wa azilun, they appoint and then they dismiss. They appoint and dismiss kings for Baghdad, that's Iraq. It says that وَيَغْزُو مَلِكُهَا Alp Arslan al-Afranj. وَيَغْزُو, Gaza yagzu, it means to invade, to attack a particular capital or city. Okay, so they invade, his kings invade, and that king, Malikuha, of course, is king, one, singular. And he was the person, this title, Alp Arslan. Okay, this is a famous person. He's a great warrior, great sultan. So this king, who was the one ruling this big city, which was controlling Iran, Iraq, and Nisabur and Khurasan, he says that his king, this king, that Alp Arslan, he invaded Al-Afranja. He invaded Afranja. That's the Franks. Okay, where the Franks were. That's what he's referring to. Al-Afranj. Okay. The place where the Franks were living. He invaded that place. Fi diyarihim, in their homes. Then he says that وَيَعْسِرُ مَلِكَهُمْ. He asara yasiru, it means to take someone as a captive. Okay, to take someone as a captive. So he captured, they imprisoned his Malik. After invading it, they captured their king and then they imprisoned him, who was a Nasrani. He was a Nasara, he was a Christian. They says that وَيَضْرِبُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْجِزْيَةِ, and then he strike taxes upon them. Jizya bimana, so taxes. He imposed taxes on them. Then he says that وَقَدْ بَلَغَتْ هَذِهِ الدَّوْلَةُ أَوْجَهَا fi ahdi Malik Shah. And then this dawla, this state, balagat, it reached, balagat, to reach a particular peak or something. So it reached is awjah. Awjahun actually means the apex of something. So it reached its apex fi ahdi Malik Shah, during the era of Malik Shah. This also another person, famous person, Malik Shah. So he says that the state, that state, it reached its apex at the time of Maliku Shah, Waziriha, and then its minister, Al-Fadil Nizam Mulk Tusi, who was the person of Nizam Mulk at Tusi. So this person who he was the minister and Maliku Shah was the king when that state reached its apex. Okay. فرأيت المدرسة النظامية في بغداد عامرة آهلة. He says that I saw a Nizamiya, Madrasatan Nizam, that's the regular school. Okay, during the olden days, we used not have to have this system that we are now having, where you go and sit in classroom. No, it wasn't like that. Okay, it used to be in Zawaya. So you go to a corner with a particular sheikh, and then he will train you. He will train you he will teach you a particular book. Then after that, he will teach you another book. In that other, sometimes even masajid. You go to masajid and then you see circles of knowledge, majalis al-ilm. Okay, that was how knowledge was. It wasn't in class. Today we have classrooms and we even have systematic, like we have primary school, secondary school, junior high school, in that sense. Okay, college, university. But during those times, it wasn't like that. But this Madrasatun Nizamiya is referring to current day school, the regular system that we are having now. Okay, and Nizamiya actually means system. Okay, Nizamiya, it means system in the Islamic schools. In the Islamic system, this was the first regular school. During the time of Nizam Malik Tusi, this particular wazir, this minister, during his time, that we had the first regular school. That was put in place, but it wasn't there actually to begin with in the Islamic world. So he says that in Baghdad, that's Iraq, Amiratan Ahilatan, it was filled. Amiratan, it was filled up. Ahilatan, it was crowded. He says that وَيُدَرِّسُ فِيهَا مِثْلُ إِمَامِ أَبِي حَامِدِ الْغَزَالِي, and people like Imam, the famous Imam Hamid al-Ghazali that we all know, they used to teach there. Darasa yudarrisu, it means to teach. They used to teach there. Then he says that وَتُنْفِقُ عَلَيْهَا الدَّوْلَةُ السَّلْجُوكِي, and the Dawlatu Saljuki, the Saljuk state, this was a state of Muslims. It was purely for the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Was a state that was governed by Muslims, mainly majority being Ahlul Sunnah. And so that was the Saljuk state. And then he says that they were those who were sponsoring it. Tunfiku alayha. They were spending over it. Indirectly, they were sponsoring it. Okay. This Madrasatun Nizamiya. Then he says that wara'aytu shakikataha Madrasatun Nizamiya fi Nisabur. And then he saw a second regular school. Okay, systematic school. Shakikataha, it means is likeness. Shakik, when it's used for human being, it means a twin. A twin. And what do you think about twins? They are almost the same. They are similar. So Shakik, when it's used for inanimate things, it means they are so much similar to one another. So Shakikataha meaning is like. You saw a like of it in Nisabur. In Nisabur. Yudarrisu fiha mislu Imam al-Haramayn al-Juwayni. The likes of the famous Imam al-Haramayn al-Juwayni, the Imam of the two Harams, and that was al-Juwayni. The likes of them, they were teaching there. The manner they were teaching in it. So Imam al-Ghazali, he was teaching in that Madrasatun Nizamiya in Iraq. And Imam al-Juwayni, he was also teaching in that was in the regular school that was in Nisabur. That's what we're learning here. Then he continued by saying that فَقَرَّتْ بِذَلِكَ أَيْنِي. When he saw that, he was happy. He was happy that the Islamic world was progressing. He was happy with that. Qarra, it means to be pleased with something. Okay, so when it's using an expression like qarrat aini, it means my eyes was pleased with what I saw. Okay, so like the prophet says, ju'ilat qurratu aini fi salat. The comfort of my eyes is placed in salat. Meaning where I found comfort is in salat. Anytime I have any distress, if I just come in to do nawafil or to pray, all those distress, they will go away. And so he says that وَدَعَوْتُ لِدَوْلَةِ السُّلُجُوكِيَّةِ, and then he prayed for the Dawlat al-Suljukiya, وَمَلِكِهَا, and then is Malik, وَوَزِيرِهَا, and then is Wazir, the minister. Then he says that وَمَا لَبِسْتُ أَنْ رَأَيْتُ الْأَفْرَنْجَ يَحْمِلُونَ السُّلْبَانِ. So here the problem comes. The Afranch, they defeated the Afranch, as he said, as he told us. Okay, see here, these Franks, they were people, they didn't actually like Islam. So that was why he said, Yagziru Malikuha al-Arslan al-Afranja. You can see he told us at the beginning that they invaded the Afran fi diyarihim, and they even captured their Malikehum. They captured, they imprisoned, they took a prisoner. They took his king as a prisoner. So they defeated them. They defeated the Afranks, who were people who hate Islam. But they came back again. They came back after these people were gone. Okay, they came back. The Afranch, they regrouped and came after their initial defeat. They came after again to attack Islam. So that's what he's now telling us here. Very big problem. He says that Wama labistu ar-ra'aytu al-afranja. It didn't take any long time. Wama labistu is an expression to mean it didn't take any long time. Okay, it's like sometimes we have ankes bin. That's also another expression. Ankes bin. It means yes, within a short period of time something happened. So you see ankes bin. Okay, like similar to Wama labistu. I didn't remain for so long. And ra'aytu al-afranja. Then I saw the Afranj, the Franks. Yahmeluna sulban. They were carrying crosses. Salib is actually a single cross. So the sulban is the plural. Okay, salib, it means the cross. There's a cross that have the Christ symbol on it. So they were carrying these crosses. Yugiruna ala bilad al-Islamiyya, and then they were invading. Agara yugiru, it means to attack. Okay, even we have a surah al-Adiyat. Okay. These are the horses that invade at dawn. So mugirat, Allah use mugirat for them. So agara yugiru is the verb which means to invade someone, to attack someone. So wayudiruna ala bilad al-Islamiyya, and then they were invading the Islamic cities. Wara'aytuhum min kulli hadabin yansilun, and I saw them descending from every slope. Hadab, it means a slope. Even it's used for the hump of an animal, like a cow or a horse. At the back of it, you can see a hump. Okay, that hump is called hadab. Of course, it comes to mean something is high and the thing is slopey. Okay, so hadabin is an expression. Ala kulli hadabin. Wara'aytuhum min kulli hadabin. It means from every apex, meaning from every point. You see them from every point. They are coming to attack the city. The Islamic cities. That's what he's saying. Yansilun. Nasala yansil, it means to come down. Okay, they were descending from every slope. وَقَدْ جُنَّ جُنُونُهُمْ, and their madness was mad. Literally, that's what he's saying. وَقَدْ جُنَّ جُنُونُهُمْ. Junun is actual madness. So, جُنَّ جُنُونُهُمْ, their madness was mad. It was describing how severe their hatred was, and how eager they were ready to attack and kill Muslims as they were coming. They were very mad when they were coming to attack. That's what he's trying to describe. And he says that حتى سافر ألوف من الأطفال والغلمان من بلاد الأفرنجة ليفتحوا القدس. So حتى سافر ألوفا, until thousands. So this doesn't mean until. It means meaning that hatta, it comes to mean to a point. As he said that their madness were bad, it means to a point. Ulufun, thousands. It was not just a few people, it was thousands of them. Safara min al-atfal wal gidman. Thousands of children and young men, they traveled min bilad al-Afranja, from the land of the Afranks, from their land, liyaftahu al-Quds, to attack Jerusalem. That was Quds. The Jerusalem that is being up to now, people are still Muslims and other faiths and other countries are still fighting for it. And so that was what they were coming to attack. They wanted to come and capture the Jerusalem from the hands of Muslims, to take it from the Muslims. وَقَدْ غَرِقَ أَكْثَرُهُمْ فِي الطَّرِيقِ. As he already told us, they were ulufun, they were thousands, and most of them has drawn فِي الطَّرِيقِ, in the path. When they were coming, most of them drawn on their way. وَمَاتُوا, and they died. وَرَأَيْتُ مُلُوكَ أُرُبَّا, and I saw the kings of Europe. Urubba, that's Europe. قَدْ تَحَالَفُوا عَلَى ذَلِكَ, they had came to an agreement. Tahalafa, it means to sign, to come to a pact or an agreement to do something together. That's the halafa. Okay, so we have seen this several times. Okay, the halafa, it means to come to an agreement that all of us will do this. So meaning that these Franks that were coming to attack and capture Jerusalem, that's currently Palestine, where Palestine is, Quds in Palestine. The kings of Europe, they also wanted to take it from the hands of Muslims, and so they came to a pact with these the Franks, that they will help them, and so they are going to fight together. Even though the Franks were those who were coming to attack, they were sitting at their homes, but indirectly they were supporting from behind, and even today you still see it. And so that's what is happening at Al-Azhar. So this is to tell us that these people, Uruba, the people of Europe and other Western countries, they have long wanted to take away Quds from the hands of Muslims. It's not today. That's a lesson that we have to learn. This has been happening for so long. Anytime Jerusalem is attacked, they will have a hand in it. They have a hand in it. So even today, they may pretend that Muslims should control it, but indirectly they hate it. They want Quds, this place, to be out of their hands, the control of Muslims. No. So that's what history is telling us. They had come to a pact on that. وتقدمت من أوروبا جنود من صليبيين, and جنود من صليبيين, armies of صليبيين, that is Crusaders. Okay, army of Crusaders, armies of these people carrying the crosses, Christian or Crusaders army. They march from Uruba. Tadaffaqa, it means to pour out. Tadaffaqa, the verb is tadaffaqa, tadaffiqu. It means for something to gush out. Okay, so it means that they were just pouring. There were so many. And so Europe, they provided military armies, Crusaders, who came with this affranch to fight for the Quds, to conquer Quds, Jerusalem, hatta akhazul Qudsa, and then so that they will take over Quds. And he says that and they took over Quds. And then they placed the sword on the Muslims. This is an expression to mean they massacred the Muslims. If I say wada'a alayhi sayf, it means he killed him. Literally, he killed him. He placed the sword on him. It means he killed him. He struck him with the sword. That's what it means. It's not to be taken literally. Okay, so if you say wada'a alayhi sayf, it means he struck him with he killed him. Wada'u fil muslimin sayf, they killed the Muslims. Hatta salat bidima'ihim sikaku madinatul Quds, until their blood, okay, flowed. Sala, to flow, until their blood flowed. Sikaku madinatul Quds. On the Sikak means the railways of the city of Quds, of city of Jerusalem. The railways of the city of Jerusalem was flowing with the blood of the Muslims. That was how they really massacred the Muslims. Then he says that وَزَلَقَتْ فِيهَا الْخَيْلِ, and then the horses, they sleep in it. The horses that were still coming in, as they were coming in waves of armies that were coming to attack and kill Muslims and take over the city. Those after killing them, several other waves of horses that were coming in, they kept sleeping. Why? Because of the flowing blood that was coming from the Muslims who were massacred. It says that وَأَخَذُوا أَكْثَرَ مُدُنُ سُورِيَّا وَفِلِسْطِينَ, and most of the cities of Syria, that is Syria in today, were Philistine, Palestine, they were taken by these people. وَحَدَّدُوا مِصْرَ وَالْإِرَاقِ, and then they threatened Misr, that is Egypt, وَالْإِرَاقِ, and Iraq. They threatened to take Misr, that is Egypt, and Surah's Iraq and Iraq that we have today. They threatened to take these places as well. وَطَمِعُوا فِي الْحِجَازِ, and they even had strong desire for Hijaz, that is Saudi Arabia. To see how these people were very enthusiastic about ending the world of Muslims, the Islamic world. They didn't want it, they couldn't stand it. They wanted to do away with Islam. They says that وَبَلَغَتْ بِهِمُ الْجَرَاءَةُ وَالْوَقَاهَةُ, And then their waqaha, jara'a means their boldness. Okay, their I mean to be bold towards something. Their boldness, waqaha, and their rudeness. It reached to a point, and halafa minhum amirun ala ihanati jasad tahir, that the amir around them, the prince that is their prince, the prince of the Franks that came to conquer, he will take an oath ala ihanati jasad tahir, to humiliate, ihana, to humiliate something, to humiliate or to disrespect the pure body. This means the body of the Prophet ad-dafin fil Medina, that is buried in Medina. So this prince, their prince, he's saying that their jarah, their boldness and then their rudeness, it reached to a point where their amir, halafa minhum al-amir, their amir swore ala ihanati jasad tahir, to disrespect or to humiliate the body of the pure body. That's it, an expression to refer to the body of the Prophet ad-dafin fil Medina, that's buried in Medina. The body of the Prophet, he threatened to take it. Rather, he will take it out and then maybe he will disrespect it. He will do something to it that is very bad. That's what he's saying. Alayhi alfu salam, on him be thousands of peace. So that's an i'tirat. He's just reciting it, prayer on the Prophet. Let's see what happens. So these are very painful moments in the history of Islam. You know, he says that ra'aytu kulla dhalika, he saw all this. The man of this author, he said he witnessed all this. Waltafattu ila dawlati Suljuki, and then he turned to the dawlati Suljuki, the Suljuk state, those who had the madrasa Nizamiya. Okay, the time of Nizam Malik Tusi that we have seen in the previous page. All these people, their time, they were those who used to kill, who used to, put the Franks in their place. There were people who used to attack them and put them in their place. So he said he turned to them, in Nisabur, wakultu, and then he said, Aina mulukuha, where are their kings? Alladhina kanu yabzuna al-Afranja, who used to invade the Franks. وَيَهْزِمُونَهُمْ, and then they defeat them maratan ba'da ukhra, one after the other. Where are these people? Where are the Dawla to Sujuki? Then he says that فَإِذَا هِيَ قَدْ إِنْقَرَدَ سَنَةَ 532, and all of a sudden he saw that they were in extinction, but they have all gone. It wasn't there again. It wasn't effective. The Dawla to Sujuki, those who used to put the Franks in their place, they are gone. They are Inqarada means for something to expire, for something to go into extinction. They are no more there again. Okay, since the age of 532 Hijriya, 532 years after Hijr, during that time they were gone, they were no more there again. وَالْتَفَتُّ إِلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and then he turned to the Muslims, one of the other Muslims countries, he turned to them, فَرَأَيْتُهُمْ فِي لَهْوٍ وَلَعِبٍ, and he saw them in lahu, amusement, وَلَعِبٍ, and play. While this was happening, the Muslim countries that were those who were there, they were in play, lahu, amusement. They were concerned about things that has no benefit. That's what he said. وَفِي غَزْوٍ وَالنَّهْوٍ, and in Gazwe, the manner they were invading other places, were Nahbin and Lutan. Basuhum bainahum shadid. Their bas, the manner their problems within them, their internal problems were so much. No, that's what happens. If you want to attack or to be powerful, you have to be unified internally. If the unity in it is not there, then of course you'll be very weak. Yes, that's what happens in any time. Look at Muslims are coming out to go to Badr, to go and fight on the part of Allah, Badr. But Allah told them what? Okay, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا, and do not have arguments. Immediately you start to argue with one another, shaitan will come in between you. Then internally you become divided, and the enemy will be able to defeat you. Surah Al-Anfal is telling us this. We have to learn lesson from that. Muslims are coming out to go to Badr, and Allah is giving them a counsel. Do not fight internally. You are going to fight an enemy, and internally you are even divided. How can you be powerful to face the enemy? And so that's what is a very powerful message for us. We have to learn this. We have to really come back together. Islamic State, if we don't solve our internal problems, we will forever be weak. That's what Sheikh is telling us here. Then he says that وَرَأَيْتُ النَّاسَ وَالْمُلُوكَ وَالْوُزَرَاءَ وَالْعُلَمَاءُ فِي شُغْلٍ. And then he saw people, Muslims, وَالْمُلُوكَ and Muslim kings, وَالْوُزَرَاء and Muslims ministers, وَالْعُلَمَاء and scholars, Islamic scholars, فِي شُغْلٍ. They were busy and affranch. They were busy, unconcerned about the affranch. When you use this an, shagala an, it means you were busy and then you forgot about it. Okay, you were busy somewhere, then your concentration wasn't there. Okay, so shuggling, and they were busy away from the affranch. They weren't concerned about them. Okay, they weren't concerned that they are attacking Islamic State and then conquering Islamic cities. They weren't concerned. Their concentration was somewhere. That's what he's saying. Fahiftu alal Islam. And then he feared for Islam. He feared that what is happening? Is Islam going? Is Islam going away? That's what he feared. Okay, ma'adallah. Then he says that waqultu, and I said, Al-Din Salam, peace be on the religion, peace be on Islam. They say that Faiza, so here comes the rahmah of Allah. The mercy of Allah came. And so that's what he's saying. Wa iza bi sultani Nuruddin Zanki. And all of the sudden there was Sultan. Okay, the Sultan, the great warrior, the great Sultan of Nuruddin Zanki was Sultan Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. These two people, Nuruddin Zanki was Salahuddin al-Ayyubi. They are very great people in the history of Islam. They came, they appeared. Waqad nazala bil Afranja. And then they descended on the Afranj. They took it over themselves to fight them. وَقَارَأَهُمْ. And then they fight them. They struggle with them. Qara'a, to struggle with one another. Okay, to struggle with someone. In a fight, of course. To agree to what you want. So وَقَارَأَهُمْ. They fought them or they struggled with them. QIRA شَدِيدًا. Severe struggle. This is maf'ul mutlaq. Okay, severe struggle. They struggle with them severely. وَلَمْ يَزَلْ صَلَاحُ الدِّينِ يَضْرِبُ الْحَدِيدَ بِالْحَدِيدِ. And Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, he kept striking iron on iron. This is an expression to mean they kept fighting. Of course, when two people are fighting with sword, look at the Arabian time, when they are fighting with their sword. What happens? You hear, they are striking, this one is striking his sword with the other, in the other. So that means it's an expression to mean they kept fighting. Okay. لم يزل يضرب الحديد بالحديد. It means he kept fighting. He kept striking iron with iron, meaning that he kept fighting with them. حتى هزم الأفرنجة. At the point he defeated the Franks. في طبرية, in Tabri. شر هزيمة. Worst form of defeat. He defeated them so forcefully. It was the worst form of defeat they have ever encountered. He defeated them. Wada'a bil brains. And then he called for the brains. This means the prince, the Amir. This Arabization, just type it in, from English like that. Brains. It means the prince. That's what he's telling here. They call the prince Allazi halafa ala ihanati jasad Rasulillah. The one who swore that he will humiliate the body of the Prophet. That Salahuddin called him. He called he ordered that this prince should be brought after they defeated the Afranj. وَضَرَبَ رَأْسَهُ بِيَدِهِ قَائِلًا. And he struck his head with his hand, saying, الْيَوْمَ أَنْتَصِرُ لِمُحَمَّدٍ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. الْيَوْمَ, today I will revenge for Muhammad Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah. That's what he says. He says that وَانْتَزَعَ الْقُدْسَ وَالْمُدَنَ الشَّامِيَّةَ مِنْ أَيْدِ النَّصَارَى. And then he took back Quds, Jerusalem, وَالْمُدْنَ الشَّامِيَّةَ, and then the cities of Sham, Syria, several cities of Syria that they have conquered, including Jerusalem. He took all of them, مِنْ أَيْدِ النَّصَارَى, from the hands of the Christians. He took it back. These Franks, of course, they were crusaders, they were Christians, together with some, alliances from European countries that came together, and they took Jerusalem and some of the cities of Syria and even other places. He took it back, all these things. وَبَيَّدَ وَجْهَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ فِي الْعَالَمِ. And then he made the faces of Muslims white. He whitened the faces of Muslims in the world. This is an expression to mean he made them happy. Okay, he made them happy. بَيَّدَ وَجْهَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. It means he made them happy. It's an expression, it's not to be taken literally. Then he says that وَكَانَ فَتْحًا تَضَاعِلَتْ أَمَامَهُ الْفُتُوحُ. And it was a conquer, كانت فتحًا, it was a conquer, it was a conquest that تضاعلت. تضاعلت means for something to diminish, for something to be small. أمامه الفتوح, بمعنى any other conquer after his own, or that will come after his own, that will come in front of his own, is going to be small. بمعنى it was so big, Muslims waited for it, that any other conquest that will happen after this time is going to be very small compared to what he did. That's what they are saying. When we say something shay'un da'il, it means shay'un qalil, something that is very small. Okay, something that is diminished. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Then he says that وَأَثْنَى عَلَيْهِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحُ, and then Malaika, the angels, وَالْرُوحُ, and Jibreel alayhi salatu, they all praised him. وَقَالَ قَائِلٌ مِّنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and they say, a person among the Muslims said, هَذَا الَّذِي كَانَتِ الْأَيَّامُ تَنْتَظِرُ, this was that which the days were waiting for. Of course, when this was happening, Muslims were waiting that when is Rahmah of Allah coming. And so, fortunately, this happened, and then these people were defeated, and then these cities were taken back for Muslims again. And so that's what the Muslims were happy, of course, very, very happy. And so that's what he said, كَانَتِ الْأَيَّامُ تَنْتَظِرُ هَذَا الَّذِي كَانَتِ الْأَيَّامُ تَنْتَظِرُ, this was that which the days were waiting for. Then he says that فَلْيُوَفِّ لِلَّهِ أَقْوَامٌ بِمَا نَذَرُوا, and so people should complete the vows or the promises that they made for Allah. وَفَّى يُوَفِّي, it means to complete. To complete. And the lam here is called lamul amr. Okay, lamul amr. The lam is called lamul amr. It means so complete. So if I say kum linazhab, get up and let's go. So linazhab, that li, it is lamul amr. It's for command. Let's go. Okay. Liyajlis, ana, sit. It's a command. It's a command that you are doing. Let's sit. Okay. Linajlis, let's sit. That's what he's saying. Fali yuwafi. And so let him complete. Who? Akwamun, people. Kaum. Okay. Let the people complete or fulfill nazar. Nazar means to say, if this happen, I'm going to do this. That's nazar. Okay. Okay. وَمَا مِن نَذْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. So nazar is to say that if this happen, I'm going to do this. Okay, if Muslims conquer back Jerusalem, I'm going to fast this. That's nazar. So he's saying that so those who made promises, let them fulfill it. That's what he's saying. So in hadaratu ila al-asfal, he says that then I came down after this history. Let's see what is now going to happen. Jerusalem has been taken. Most of the cities that were conquered, they have been taken back for the Muslims. So now let's see what happens. It says that in hadaratu ila asfal, he came down, down history. After this incident happened, down to history, he saw that what? فرأيت أن البغداد التي زرتها قبل دقائق, Baghdad which he visited few minutes ago. This literally, okay, it's not to be taken, it's simply telling us that moments ago. قد زحف إليها جراد من التتار. Another very painful incident that happened in the history of Islam. It was the times of the Tatar. Okay, the Mongols. It was a very painful incident that happened. Even their own were severer than the Franks. They also came, the Tatar also came to conquer Islam. And so that's what he's saying. Zahafa ilayha, the manner Baghdad, that was their starting point. They first attacked Iraq. And so that was their starting point. So that's what he's saying. Zahafa ilayha jaradun. Jarad means locust. Locust. Okay, so like Allah says, يوم يخرجون من الأجداث سراعا كأنهم جراد منتشر. The day of judgment, where people will be coming out from their graves as if they were locusts that are scattered. Meaning is used in expressions to signify how many they were. Jarad, look at people who died from the time of Adam up until now. Can you count them? So on the day of judgment, there will be so many people. Allah use Jarad. I mean locusts. No, people are not locusts, but to signify how many they are going to be. So he's saying that Zahafa ilayha Jaradun, locust quantity. The man that they were very severe. You couldn't even think they were human beings. They were like locusts. When locusts are gathered together. So when you see them like that, of Tatar, these Tatar people, they came. فَخَرَّبَهَا, and they destroy it. خَرَّبَ, it means to destroy. So let's, like Allah says, يُخْرِبُونَ بُيُوتَهُمْ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ وَأَيْدِي الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فَاعْتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. They were destroying their homes, the Jews. Okay, the Jews, they were destroyed. So Allah says, يُخْرِبُونَ بُيُوتَهُمْ خَرَبَ يَخْرِبُ وَخَرَّبَ يُخَرِّبُ. It means to destroy. They were destroying. So, فَخَرَّبَهَا, they destroyed Iraq, Baghdad. They really destroyed it. تخريبا, really destruction. I mean, severe destruction. This, مفعول مطلق. تخريبا, they destroy. خربها تخريبا, they destroyed, complete destruction. وفجروا من دماء أهلها أنهارا. Subhanallah. They made the dima, the blood of its people, to gush out like rivers. This were, I mean, what they did were unimaginable. What we are seeing in Gaza is even little. It's more the genocide. I mean, or what the genocide happening in Gaza is little compared to what this Tatar did. Even the Tatar, some history, some statement in history says that these people, they could go and then they will, I mean, cut open this pregnant woman, they will cut open her stomach, and I mean, they caused a lot of massacre. Their own was so much. I mean, it was severe, more than what we call it genocide. And so they, I mean, that's what Sheikh is telling us. وَفَجَّرُوا مِنْ دِمَاءِ أَهْلِهَا أَنْهَارًا. They gush out blood from their people as if it were rivers. وَرَفَعُوا مِنْ رُؤُوسِهِمْ مَنَارًا. And then they raised their heads, manara, for display. Manaran, it actually means something that's been raised as a sign, as a symbol. Okay, so they can put a stick, they will cut someone's head and put the head on the stick as is, raise it up, and people are watching. That was how severe they were. The Mongols or the Tatar, they are the same. At the beginning, it is the same way. The Tatar and the Mongols. Okay. Then he says that وَقَتَلُوا الْحَلِيفَةَ الْمُسْتَعْصِمِ. Yes, of course, the Khalifa who was Musta'sim, he was killed. They killed him, severe killing, sharra katla, severe killing. They killed him. They massacred his body. وَرَمَوْا بِالْكُتُبِ النَّفِيسَةِ فِي مَاءِ الدِّجْلَةِ. And then they threw, and so that's what we know. Okay, that's what history has been telling. That's the famous incident that we know. Precious books that were in Baghdad, they were being thrown into the water of Dijla, the Tigris River. They threw a lot of books. Islamic books, Islamic knowledge, severe. We used to have very, very precious knowledge of Islamic history and other fields that were in Baghdad. And these people, they took it and then they threw all of them into the river of Dijla. Why? They wanted to, erase Islam. That was their goal. So, وَرَمَوْا بِالْكُتُبِ النَّفِيسَةِ. Nafisa, it means precious. Nafisa means something that is precious. So, precious books, they threw it in the river of Dijla. فَاسْوَدَّ تَارَةً بِسَوَادِهَا. And sometimes, sometimes it becomes black with its darkness. The darkness of the ink that was used to write these books, it made the river black. That will tell you how significant these books were. They were in huge quantities of precious knowledge. And all of them, they took them and they threw them in the river, such that the river became black. To tell you how huge they were, or how many they were. Then he says that وَحْمَرَّ تَارَةً بِدِمَاءِ أَهْلِهَا. And sometimes it became red. وَحْمَرَّ, إحمَرَّ, it means for something to become red. وَلَوْ أَنِّي أَعْرِفُ مَكَانَهَا على شاطئ الدجلة لأنكرت هيئتها. And had I known, or had it been the fact that I knew مكانها, I knew the place, I knew Iraq to be على شاطئ الدجلة, to be by the coast of the river of Dijla, لأنكرت هيئتها. I would have ankara, it means to denounce something, to disagree with something. He would have disagreed that that's not it. It's nature. He looked at Iraq, and Iraq wasn't like what it used to be. They really destroyed the place. They really destroyed, okay, like what is happening in Gaza. Several countries, European countries and other people, okay, who are disguising themselves under the Israelis. Look at how they have destroyed Gaza. So the place is no more identifiable. If not, you know it. You won't identify it again. It's not as it were. And so that's similar thing. So that Ankara to Hayataha, I would have disagreed with its nature. I would have disagreed that that's not it. But he know it to be by the side of the the Dijla, the river, the Tigris river. And so that is what he saw. That's what he used to know, that that's still the place, despite the destruction. وَلَمْ أَعُدْ أَعْرِفُهَا, and I wouldn't have been able to know it again. وَرَأَيْتُ التَّتَّارِ جَرَادًا مُنْتَشِرًا, and then he saw the Tatar, جَرَادًا مُنْتَشِرًا. They were severe. I mean, they were many, and then they were scattered. Muntashir, they were scattered all over. في عالم الإسلامية, in the Islamic world. They were everywhere in the Islamic world, trying to put or trying to do away with Islam. وَقَدْ خَرَّبُوا الْمُدُنُ الْإِسْلَامِيَّةَ الْكُبْرَى, and then they destroyed most cities, Islamic cities, the big Islamic cities. They destroyed them. Okay, the biggest Islamic cities that we used to have, they destroyed them. Asim al-Sharq, and the capitals of the eastern countries, one of the Middle East, the capitals. Awasim is the plural of Asima, capitals of the eastern countries. They destroyed them. Naqadu binayataha. Naqada is a similar word. He's given us a synonym. Okay, it means harraba. It means to destroy. So they destroy its buildings. Wa harrabu masajidaha, and then they destroyed its masajis. Wa ahraku duraha, and then they burn its homes. Dur is the plural of dar. Okay, its dwellings. They burn them. Wa zabahu ahlaha, and then they slaughtered its people. Of course, and that was what they did. As I told you, it wasn't like any other genocide. It wasn't like any other genocide. It was, they won't get a Muslim and kill him normal. They will take you and massacre you. Maybe they will cut open your stomach, or they will take away your head. Or they will slaughter you. It was to the apex of severe hatred for Islam. And so was Zabahu Allah. They slaughtered these people. It wasn't normal killing that they just go and kill Muslims in it and go away. It was, these kind of horrible things that they were doing. وَمَزَّقُوا دَوْلَةَ الْحَوَازِمِ الشَّاهِ, and then they tear apart the Dawlata Hawarizm Shah. This Hawarizm Shah is the name of a place that's in Khorasan. They tear it apart. Mazzaka, they tore it apart, and they destroy it. في Khorasan, of course, in Khorasan. وَقَدَوْا عَلَى خِلَافَةِ الْأَبَّاسِيَّةِ فِي Iraq, and then they ended the era of the Abbasi state in Iraq. Of course, they were this Tatar. They were those who brought the end to the golden era of Islam. They brought it to an end. I won't say they brought it to an end. Allah brought it to an end by their sabab. Okay. Then he says that وَاسْتَشْعَرَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ الْخَوْفَ وَالْجُبْنِ, and then the Muslims, they felt ishtara, to perceive. The Muslims perceive fear, jubna, and cowardice. The Muslims felt that they were weak when all this happens and they couldn't do anything. They understood that they were very weak. Jubna, and then they were cowardice. They understand that they were cowardice. They perceive this. Al-jubn, it means cowardice, to be in a state of to be coward. Okay, Jabban is the coward. Coward person is called Jabban. So even the Arabs have a saying that they say that ما خلى الجبان بأرض طلب الطعن وحده والنزال. Ainam. No, when a Jabban, when a coward is alone in a city, he acts as if he's a warrior. And so that's what they say. Al-Jabban is the coward. So Jubn is cowardice, the state of being a coward. So they understood that they were weak. They perceive fear, and Jubn, cowardice. Hatta saru la yusaddiquna bihazimati Tatar, until a point they couldn't believe that the Tatar can be defeated. They understand. It got to a point they couldn't believe that they can defeat the Tatar again. Washtahara ala alsinatihim, and it was common on their tongues. Iza kila laka in the Tatar in hazamu fala tusaddiq. If you are told that the Tatar are defeated, don't even believe it. We need to go to a point where if saying that the Tatar are defeated, it became a statement that is automatically understood as false statement. Then it says that and of course, whenever this happens, Allah comes with a mercy. These things are test. Okay, Allah test Islam. So what is happening in Gaza, it shouldn't be something strange for us. Allah has already told us. That's the nature of at every point. Disbelievers, they will always group and come after you. Muslims, they will forever be coming after you. And so worse things has happened than what is happening in Palestine. So I used to have a friend back at school, okay, back at the university. He used to cry. He used to cry with what is happening in Gaza. Okay, bombs being dropped on children, all these things. He used to sit and cry. And I used to tell him, you have not seen history. If you look at what these Mongols, they did, you understand that what is happening is small. That time people fear, people think that Islam is going to be wiped out. Islam will end. There will no one be called Muslim again. Because if they just see you as a Muslim, they will kill you. If they see any Muslim, they will kill. And no one could stop them. No one could stop them. And so people thought that Islam will be wiped out of the surface of the earth. But Allah says that, it's such that Allah is the one who is guiding this religion. There's no one. And so, at a point where people are losing hope, Allah's mercy comes. That's why Allah's mercy came. Unfortunately, those people who caused those massacre, we are going to see in the next lesson. Why do Allah? Some will ask, why do Allah even allow those things to happen? Look at what is happening in Gaza. Where is Allah? Well, we need Him. You have to understand that mercy, how we understand mercy, is not how Allah understands mercy. Allah's mercy, we may not understand it. We may not understand it. How we see mercy is not how Allah understands mercy. Look at Ibrahim, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, thrown in a well, okay, being sold at a cheap price, found himself in a prison. What did he do to deserve all this? But Allah says, in it there is khair, in it there is good. Look at the end of the people, at the end of the day, how many people did he save from the drought that would have killed a full nation? But Allah made all these things in place, and he found himself in Egypt, and it was a mercy for other people, a lot of people. So one person's suffering can be a mercy for the whole of humanity. So sometimes if you look at this, look at such things happening, we have to understand that Allah's mercy is not how Allah sees mercy. It's not how we understand mercy. Subhanallah. Yeah, Subhanallah. There was one person like that, very sick, and still he used to be firm on his religion, and people see him, and that one is able to bring people close to Islam. People look at him and then they convert to Islam because of how his sickness is, and he's being able to still hold on to the religion. And so one person's suffering can be a mercy for the whole of humanity, as I said. And so we are going to see in the next lesson, these Tatar people who were massacring and killing people, I don't know, they converted to Islam. These Mongols, most of them are now Muslims. And so as I told you, you have to understand, Allah's mercy come from directions that we cannot understand. So at this point, he says that in Tatar, Fala Tusaddiq, people doesn't believe that they can be deceived, they can be, overpowered again. And then they thought that Islam is just coming to an end. These people, they wipe away Islam on the surface of the earth. But we are going to see from here what is going to happen. Allah mercy will come, and we'll see what will happen in the next lesson. Let's pause here. Barakallahu li wa lakum fi Quran. So he says that وَخِفْتُ عَلَى الْإِسْلَامِ مَرَّةً ثَانِيَةً. He also feared, the author feared, but we'll see what will happen. Okay, inshallah in the next lesson we'll continue. Barakallahu li wa lakum fi Quran al-Hakim, wa nafani wa iyyakum min ayati wa zikr al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.